What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over the top tips that I have for catching trout through the ice. We're going to get right into that. I'm going to be fishing as the video goes on, so who knows, I might catch one in the video or anything special like that might happen. But yeah, number one tip, definitely fish shallow. That is probably the most underrated thing with winter trout, is that everybody that doesn't know how to fish trout will go down a lake and immediately pick a spot, I don't know, 25, 30 feet deep. The thing about it is that you're not going to catch them out there. You might get lucky and get one or two, but the fish really aren't out there. The fish are up in the shallows feeding. So the thing about the shallows is if the fish are up there, you know that they're up there feeding. They don't go up there just to hang out, and that isn't where they roam. They go up there to feed. So the odds are that if they see your hook, there's a lot better chance of them feeding on it than if you're out in the middle. Not saying you won't catch them out in the middle. Some guys will swear by, I don't know, 150 feet, they catch them 80 feet down. But for beginners, I'd say start shallow. Sight fish them. That's what I like to do. I got a sight fishing hole here. But yeah, number two tip that I would have, go in the mornings. I don't know, I'd say that half hour before sunrise until 2.5 hours after sunrise, that 3-hour window is the best trout bite window of the day. I've done quite a bit of trout fishing, and by far, that's going to be your best bet. If you go out right away in the morning, there's trout right away in the morning. As soon as that sun peeks over the trees, that will be the best bite window. That's when the trout are up there really feeding. And I've always done the best right then, too. It all kind of lines up right. Number three is, if nothing else, go gold or silver. I'm talking about the color of your bait. You're going to want a bait that gives off a lot of shine, and a lot of shine, glow, anything like that. I'll show you a couple baits I use. I use a nice gold spoon, a flutter spoon from Clam. I use like a little flutter jig with ears on it that really flap and shine underneath in the water. My third favorite bait is probably got to be, I have a glowing spoon that flashes a red light. That one's always been really good for me. But anything that's going to put off a lot of attention in the water. I'm sorry if I'm not looking at the camera the whole time. I'm trying to kind of watch too because I'm fishing and might get a bite right about now. Yeah, so those are my first three. My number 4 tip has got to be fish the flats. I'm not sure which lake I'll pull up. I'll just pull up a random lake on Navionics to give an example. But yeah, if you look right where I'm circling right now, this is going to be the flat on the lake. So if you fish the flat like this, you're going to put yourself in the best chance to catch fish. That's where the fish go up and feed. That's where the most bugs are, the most minnows, most weeds. Everything's up in the flat. And that's where you're going to want to be. You set up in the flat in, I don't know, 4 to 8 feet of water. That's where I like to be. And yeah, if there's trout in there, you're putting yourself in a pretty good position to catch one. That's got to be the top 4. These next ones all kind of go along with it. And yeah, we'll get right into that here. This one kind of goes along with that 4th one that I just said about location. If there isn't really many flats, fish the fallen trees. If there's any trees in the water and it kind of drops off into that 4 to 8 feet area, fish the trees. This trout like the structure like that where they can kind of, they always keep moving. That's one thing about trout. So if you're sight fishing them, you can really tell. But if you're by the trees, they like to keep moving and they can move in and out of that structure like that. They really like that. Or weeds. Anything like that, if you could find that, that's usually a good spot. They're always going to be a little bit tougher when you're fishing those areas too, because you have to be worried about getting snagged in the tree if you get a trout on. If they pull you into the tree, the odds are that you're going to get snapped off. And that's the first place they're going to go. If you get them on, they know where they are in the lake, and they're going to go right for the weeds or right for the trees. So you have to be aware of that, how close you are to them. You want to be close, but not necessarily right in them. You might end up losing a couple nicer fish. So I'd say that'd be my 5th tip. And then for bait, waxworms. I love waxworms. I don't know, I've used other things, mimic minnows, plastics, stuff like that. It all works, but I like waxworms because the trout, when you watch them, they'll come in and they'll kind of peck at it and see if it's real bait. And if it is real bait, they're smart enough to know that they can eat it. And they'll eat the waxworms if they taste that meat on it. That's why I really like them. You know, other people will swear by whatever. I mean, you can use frozen baits. A lot of trout lakes, you can't use live bait, which kind of stinks. But yeah, frozen baits or waxworms, definitely where I would go. And for my 7th tip, I would say to sight fish them. It's so much easier. You can really know when those trout are biting and when they have the hook in the mouth to set the hook, because they're so finicky. They'll bite and then circle around and bite and circle around. Sometimes you'll see a trout nab at your hook 10 times before it actually sucks it in, and that's tough to tell when you're not sight fishing them. You wouldn't know that. You would just think that it's sitting there nibbling at it if you don't know how trout react. But I would have to say that those are my top 7 tips and tricks to catching trout through the ice. I'm going to keep fishing here. Hopefully I can catch one for you guys to really show you guys that it does work. And if I don't, I'm fishing in the middle of the day just for lighting purposes. So I don't really know if I'll catch anything out in the middle of the day, just because it's tough to get good lighting for video in the morning. And the main purpose of the video was just to teach you guys how to catch trout, not necessarily for me to catch trout. But yeah, I'd stick with that. If you use all 7 of those tips and you go out, you're putting yourself in a pretty good chance to catch a trout if they're in there. But we're going to keep fishing. Hopefully I can catch some fish, show you guys. Well, I didn't end up catching any trout, but it's the middle of the day. I guess I didn't really expect to. But we're going to wrap this video up. I hope these tips help you catch some fish. If they do, leave a comment below so I know that they helped and that people listened and tried it out. But thanks for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe. You know, if it helped you at all, subscribe. There'll probably be some more of these coming out soon. But yeah, I guess I'll catch y'all on the next one.